Hello, guys, and welcome to United Road. I'm your host Zohaib, and on this day last year, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was appointed as the permanent manager of Manchester United. It has been a roller coaster ride for him, for the club, and for the fans. We've been through some good moments, we've been through some really good moments, we've been through some bad moments, and some really bad moments. So ever since Sir Alex retired, we have failed to appoint a manager who seems most likely to bring back the glory days. We had David Moyes immediately after Sir Alex retired, and he is the reason why United got ruined. This club got ruined. He ruined this club in his 7 months, 7 months if I'm not wrong, 7 months or a year. Then Ryan Giggs took over as an interim manager. Then Louis Van Gaal, who wasn't so successful either. He won us the FA Cup though. Then Jose Mourinho for 2.5 seasons. We won the Europa League under him, the EFL Cup, finished second, but not exactly the kind of achievements we needed. And his third season at United was just horrible, pathetic. Then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over as an interim manager or a caretaker manager, whatever you like to call it, and he transformed us. He completely transformed us from being extremely defensive to having a positive approach to the game. We started attacking. We developed an attacking approach. Even against the big clubs, we wouldn't just sit back. We would hit them at the counter, and it wasn't. We just didn't rely on the counter. Of course, counter attacks is an integral part of our game, but there was we were a bit more attacking under him during that interim period, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was able to gather the most number of points in that period as an interim manager than any other manager in the Premier League, which is quite an achievement for a manager who has no experience whatsoever except for the fact that he has managed a Norwegian club. He's managed a Norwegian club for 6 years, and he came to the Premier League, and he really, and that too at a club like Manchester United, a big club like Manchester United, and he did a pretty decent job during his interim manager period, and then he got the permanent job on 28th March, and then everything started to fall apart. In the eight remaining games in the Premier League, we could only gather 8 points. So that's an average of 1 point per game, which is horrible. We got knocked out in the Champions League, which was quite expected against Barcelona, and we ended the season on a horrible note. Lost against Cardiff 2-0. Failed to qualify in the Champions League in a season where we seemed very likely to qualify for the Champions League. When he was our interim manager, I was pretty confident that we'd finish fourth, at least fourth, if not third. But then, as soon as he got his permanent manager role, he just, everything started to fall apart. We started losing games and stuff. And then this season started on a good note. We defeated Chelsea 4-0. And then the same story again. We started losing games, we started drawing games, we started dropping points. We had a lot of injuries too. So you can't necessarily blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for whatever's going on at the club right now, because we've had a lot of injuries, and he's not so vocal about it, which is one of the things I like about him. He's not so vocal about his injuries. He never complains about his injuries. He has that mentality. Unlike Jose Mourinho, we all know how much Mourinho likes to rant in his press conferences. He'd always go out there and say, three players injured, four players injured, I don't have a striker. But Oli doesn't do that, so that's something which I really like about him. So today I'll be discussing about his positives, some pros and cons of keeping Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager of United, and should he be there in the seasons to come. So let's talk about the positives first. The first thing is that the thing which I like the most about him is that he has given a lot of chance to the youth. Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, in particular, these two players, they've been amazing this season, absolutely amazing this season. And the reason being, they got the opportunity. I feel that if Jose was still here, they wouldn't they wouldn't get as many chances as they're getting right now under Oli, because Oli is an academy graduate too. He was at this club at an early age, and he went through this. He went through the academy, and joined the senior team. So he believes in the youth system. He believes that the youth can make a difference, and that's something which I really like about him. The second thing is that he's getting rid of the deadwood. A lot of players at this club, we don't really need them, right? For example, Jones. He's not yet sold, but he might just get sold in the season to come to Newcastle or somewhere. We got rid of Smalling on loan, but I think he'll move on a permanent basis. He won't be coming back. We got rid of Jones. We got rid of Alexis on loan. That too on loan, but he might be coming back. You never know. Instead of paying them huge wages, it's good to just send them out on loan. We're still paying Alexis wages though, if I'm not wrong. We have to pay Sanchez's wages because he earns a lot, and Inter Milan won't be able to pay him that much of an amount. But we got rid of Fellaini. We didn't need him. We got rid of Fellaini. Now Herrera, we didn't need to sell him because he was one of the best players at this club. He really loved this club, but we had to sell him. Unfortunately, we couldn't give him a new contract. Lukaku didn't want to stay at this club, so you can't do anything about it. And so he's trying to get rid of the deadwood. Maybe in the next season he'll sell Lingard and Pereira too. So let's just see what happens. But getting rid of the deadwood is really important. That's exactly what Pep Guardiola did in his first season. He got rid of Kolarov, Zabaleta in the second season actually in the second season at City. So that's one of the most important things as a manager. Just get rid of the deadwood. The third thing is that, as I said, his press conferences are really good. He brings that positive vibe around the club. He never complains, and he never criticizes his players. You can say he's a bit too good to be a manager of Manchester United, a club like Manchester United. But it's good to have a manager who always has a smile on his face. Even after losing games, he kind of gives his fans an assurance that we might see a better performance in the games to come in the next few games. So that really cheers us up, no matter how bad we played in that particular game. So he is good at manipulating us. I'm sorry. So yes, his press conferences are good. He brings a positive vibe around the club. And what was the other thing? I kind of forgot. I made a list, and good signings. Yes, good signings. He's made some good signings. Iron Man Basaka, Daniel James, and Bruno Fernandes, Odion Igalo as well. His signings have been absolutely spot on, and if the board supports him next season as well, we might even get Sancho or Grealish, and Sandro Tonali. You never know. We can get some good players, good young players, who can help us to reach the heights we want to. And that's all about the positives. Now let's talk about the areas which I feel Oli should focus on. Number one is he needs to develop a fix. I keep forgetting these points. I'm sorry. So we really rely on counter attacks against the big teams. We usually play five at the back, if I'm not wrong. We play five at the back. We played five at the back against City. We played five at the back against Liverpool with Maguire, Lindelof or Bai and Shaw as the three central defenders, and Brandon Williams and Basaka as the wing backs. That's how we approach big games. But if we want to challenge for the title and challenge for the top four or challenge for the top two, we need to be a bit more possessive. Keep hold of the ball, move the ball around, or maybe play like Liverpool. They don't really have a specific style of play. They just know what to do and when to do it. Their players have this instinct which Klopp has provided them with. So if we keep on relying on counter attacks, we won't be able to be the top club, right? We don't have to play five at the back. If we don't necessarily need to be intimidated by our opponents. We get intimidated. I won't say intimidated, but we respect our opponents a bit too much. I'm talking about the top six. So we play five at the back, we rely on counters, and we do a pretty good job against them. But the only problem is that when we are playing against the lesser sides, the non-top six sides, we struggle because we are so used to relying on counter attacks that we don't really know what to do when the teams are defending against us and we have to do all of the attacking. So that's something which he needs to focus on. If we get a Sancho next season, maybe then Sancho and a holding midfielder like Thomas Partey, then maybe it could make a difference because they'll be able to provide much more than what the players right now are providing. Maybe Sancho, if Sancho can replace Daniel James, then we all know how good Sancho is. We all know how good Daniel James is, but James is more suited to the counter-attacking play, whereas Sancho can, he's more of a playmaker as well. He's a winger, but he can, create chances as well. So if we get a Sancho, Thomas Partey, or even a striker, then maybe that will change. But he needs to develop a fixed starting 11 and a fixed formation which he could use in most of the games. So that's the area which he needs to focus on. Now, Ole in or Ole out? If you're talking about the next season, Ole in. But I don't think that he should stay in this club for more than 2 years now. Because if there are better managers available, why should we stick with him? I'm not talking about Pochettino. If I have to choose between Pochettino and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, then I'll stick with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because he knows more about this club than Pochettino. And let's be honest, Pochettino hasn't won anything. He's a great manager. Nothing taking away from. I'm not taking anything away from Pochettino, but he hasn't really won anything. And we need managers who have that winning mentality, who have won before. We've won big titles before. Have won the Champions League before. So if there are better managers available, we should let go of Ole. But if there aren't good managers available, like in this situation, like at this point of time, I think we should stick with Ole because there are no better managers available for this job except for Pochettino. So there's no point sacking Ole right now or asking him to leave right now. We won't sack him. I think he's a club legend, so I don't think it would be really disrespectful if we sack him. There'll be a different way to get rid of him. But I don't think that he should leave right now. Next season, definitely Ole needs to stay. But that's what Liverpool did. Brendan Rodgers was doing a great job at Liverpool. Remember the season when Gerrard slipped and they finished second and City won the title. They nearly won the title for the first time in 25 years. Brendan Rodgers almost took them all the way. But he was doing a great job. But Liverpool chose Klopp over him because Klopp had achieved more than Brendan Rodgers. They had they had the opportunity to sign a world class manager. So they chose they chose the latter. They went for Jurgen Klopp and look where they are now. So if we have the opportunity to sign a better manager, a manager who has won a lot more than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, then I don't think we need to keep Ole at the club and sign whichever manager is available, provided that he's good enough. So it was so his first year at Manchester United, Ole has done a good job. So he has won 53 points out of 101, 53 out of 101, which is good. It's not that bad, right? It's not that bad. We could have got more. We could have got a lot more, but considering the team that we had last season and considering the team that we have right now, it's all right. We're moving. We're moving towards greener pastures, if I can say that. And I have confidence in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And the people who know me would be surprised because they all know how much I used to criticize Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But in the last few months, I think he has done a pretty good job, and I have regained confidence in him. I have regained confidence in the club legend, and I think if he gets the players that he wants to sign next season, maybe we'll be right back on track and maybe finish in the top two next season. Maybe win the FA Cup or maybe even the Champions League. But that's too much to ask for. Let's be realistic. So that's it for today. That was my review of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first year actually at Manchester United. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Should he stay or should he leave? And how was his performance in this first year at Manchester United? I'll be back in a couple of days with another video. Until then, stay safe from the coronavirus. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.